Okay. Let's go with Matthew.
Yeah, let's get this
because
supernatural.
this is all coming together. Matthew in Michigan, how are you doing?
Hello, can you hear me fine?
Oh,
Yes.
man, we can hear really good.
Can you hear any background noise right now?
Nope, you sound like you're in a noise-canceling room,
Yeah, like
so
a
we like
closet.
it.
Are you in a closet?
Okay, good, because I just moved into my own place and my dad's currently doing construction inside the house and was just making sure you couldn't hear it.
No, you're good. All right.
Anyways,
What can we help you with?
I've called in to ask how would a person go about getting over their fear of paranormal or supernatural things.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in a pretty religious area. A lot of people believe in that kind of stuff. I never really believed it, but it still gets to me.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically gets to you?
Yeah.
Like the thoughts of like demons or ghosts,
Got it.
spirits, and all that.
Yeah. No, I could totally relate. That scared. Like I mentioned earlier, scared the piss out of me.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were
Yeah,
real.
I've had quote unquote experiences. I don't believe that they were real, but I've had sleep paralysis
Yes.
many times,
Same here.
and it's terrifying.
Something that's very common.
When you just can't move and you're just stuck in your bed there, and you see like things leaning over you, touching you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a terrifying thing to go through, and it makes a lot of sense to think about how people are like, oh, I don't know what this is. My only experience has been that there has been someone else in the room with me, so that must be what's happening now, even though we've been able to debunk that particular claim.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what sleep paralysis is,
Yeah.
and then to go through it and experience something like Matthew or even myself. Have you had sleep paralysis before?
I have not.
Okay, I have.
I'm waiting for that to happen so that I can join the club. But up until this point, I've been spared.
Yeah, it is a freaky experience, and is easily can be seen as a supernatural event unless you know that this is a common occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I woke up as a kid and I saw this angel materializing at the foot of my bed and from the head down, and it was really creepy. Yeah, so how does one go about dealing with this fear? And are you? I assume you're wanting to get rid of it or alleviate it some.
Yeah.
It does give me paranoia sometimes.
Yeah. I would imagine that one thing you could do would be to find people in your area who also are coming out of a religious experience and talk with them.
Now, are you coming out of a religious background yourself?
I was raised in a religious household, but I've never really been religious myself.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, whether or not you personally believed, being around that kind of atmosphere as a kid, as you're absorbing all of this information, still has effects, and you are still damaged by that. Yeah. So I think even if you personally were not a believer, you could still take advantage of, say, the Recovering from Religion Foundation's offerings.
Yeah, and I think that to start off, we can say something like, there is a good chance that it will not be a switch that's flipped in you automatically. More than likely, it's going to be a gradual process of one thing dropped after another until you finally are free of this fear. But definitely sitting down and talking with folks who don't believe in the supernatural and are empathetic towards you, which a lot of the all of the recovering from religion groups, a lot of them. Oh my gosh, that's
a lot of them.
There's like one or two that aren't. No, they're all fantastic. All the RFR groups are trained to do, or even the online chat or the phone call, talking with other people, sitting down with other people, and just like we had mentioned earlier, hearing the stories that you're experiencing. Like if you tell your story out loud and then you suddenly realize, well, that sounds silly, or that doesn't sound nearly as scary as I thought it was, those go pretty darn far into, and having that peer support goes really far to helping come to grips with these fears, and so they no longer haunt you, quote unquote haunt you. That's okay.
Yeah, another thing that really helped me kind of deconstruct a lot of my fear around those things was researching where they came from.
Yeah.
And kind of doing like a historical, even like inquiry into, okay, so the concept of a demon is linked to the concept of a jinn, and the concept of a jinn was created when this thing happened, and they had to explain this, and actually like going through and figuring out where these myths started and the different variations of them and how people came up with them in the first place, especially if there are a lot of them where our current understanding of them is actually very recent. And so we might be afraid of something that hasn't even been around for more than 20 or 30 years. Like the concept of spiritual warfare that Frank Peretti talked about a lot was a relatively recent invention, or at least a resurgence of something that for a very long time people didn't even think about. So I would say maybe do a little bit of research and really look at what scares you. Look at it head on, because I guarantee you it's gonna evaporate.
Yeah, finding out the roots of it, and like exactly what you said, researching it, and possibly even finding out or researching like how could this within the nature and the science that we know, is there any possible way this could happen? Are the energy are we aware of the forces? Are we aware of the particles that could possibly make these things real? And within my own research, we know nothing of that. Nothing even close that would explain the nature of ghosts or the nature of demons or what have you.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. So for me, I know that I was never afraid of ghosts necessarily, but I was always like, maybe it's a thing.
It's kind of fun too.
I grew up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, they've got ghosts all over the place.
Exactly. Worked in one of the most haunted inns in the United States. It was an experience. I was the only one they'd send to clean the attic because I was the only one who'd dare to go up there. But a lot of that, even tentative, maybe possibly, went away when I realized there's no such thing as a soul. So what would stick around?
Oh, that's a great point.
You know?
Yeah,
so like, okay,
point.
so a ghost would be the remnants of a person that was dead, but if you're just your brain and your brain is dead, there's nothing left to inhabit anything.
Yeah.
So there goes that.
So Matthew, where do you stand on that? Where do you stand on the afterlife? If you're not a believer, but were kind of raised in it, where do you stand on that?
I don't really have an opinion one way or another. I'm not afraid of death. I'm just afraid of how I'm going to die.
Okay, well that's
fair.
Very fair and realistic.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea of where a person goes after they die? Because that might help alleviate some of at least the ghosts' fears.
Yeah, or I mean other ones too.
Or even the supernatural realm.
I think this is what we were trying to get to when we were talking with Chris about the dangers of believing in the paranormal and saying it might be out there, because Chris out here saying, oh, it might be real, and then here's Matthew saying, I'm terrified of this, please tell me it's not real. So I would...
I know that it's not real, but it's just hard for me to get over after being raised in a household for 19 years, being told about all this sort of kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah, that's completely fair and understandable and expected.
Do you have an opportunity to get out of the household and surround yourself on a regular basis with another community?
I just moved into my own place yesterday.
Yeah, he just said he moved into his own place.
Oh, that's right. And your dad was doing construction. That's really cool.
That's going to be a huge step right there.
Yeah, it really will be.
So you are these things that they're coming with you right now, these fears, because they've been given to you by your family. But as you put that distance between them, not emotionally or physically necessarily, but just being on your own and being in a situation where you decide what information comes into you, that's gonna help a lot. So that you're already aware it's not true and it's not real is huge.
Yes.
So you've made that first big step, the biggest one that needs to be taken. And now it's just a matter of reminding yourself of that and practicing things that are going to help you to get over it slowly, because it's not going to be a overnight type thing.
And even avoiding the things that might reaffirm it.
Right. Like if your friends are going out to a scary movie that has ghosts in it, like maybe I'm going to skip out on that one.
Or searching the internet for explanations of why the Gettysburg ghosts are real, and it comes up with crank theories.
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Go on a ghost tour and then meet the people afterwards who were the ghosts. It's a uniquely demystifying experience. Like, oh, you're getting drunk. That's cool. Does that help at all, Matthew?
Completely, yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to call back. And also a good place to go for this kind of thing would be the Discord, I think. I know there are probably tons of people who have similar experiences out there who would also be willing to kind of either help you debunk some of these things in a way that makes it less scary, or just commiserate and be like, yeah, man, that's kind of freaky. I'm scared of that too.
I don't really use media a whole lot.
Yeah, perfect.
I don't have Discord.
Well, we're going to be playing around with it after the show.
And it's a free program too, and to sign up free, and there's no cost to it at all.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive, and the link should be in our description if you want to check it out.
I will look into it.
Awesome, and feel free to call back. Congrats on your new place.
Thank you, and thank you for taking my call.
For sure.
Very excited and somewhat nervous. Had to hold down puking.
Matthew, so do I. I have to do that too. You're not alone.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for calling in, Matt.
Thank you, and thank you for taking my call. Have a good day, you guys.
You too. Bye.
So Discord, it sounds like it's a community where folks can come to a community and kind of discuss type. So tell me a little about that.
So Discord
I actually haven't joined I joined Discord, but I haven't actually joined the ACA.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There are different channels for the different shows. So every show that gets put on, people pop over to that channel and talk about the show, or the hosts, or different callers, and give their own arguments, stuff like that. And then there are also just general chats and places that you can go on any day and just interact with people who know the shows, who know have that kind of common community.
Good. Yeah. So it's a place you can just go to your computer, and it's on Windows, and I know I've got it on my Android, and
yeah.
assume it's Mac.
Yeah, you can just log on. It's a fairly intuitive process. The only thing you have to be comfortable doing is like jumping in, because there are like 5 different conversations that have been going on for a week that are happening like right in front of you. So you just got to get in there. But yeah, it's